Everybody, welcome to Busy Living Sober. It is episode 308, and today is Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. And today we are sponsored by SoberLink. Each and every person in the fight against alcohol addiction has their own reason for recovery. Maybe it's a husband, wife, daughter, son, mom, dad, best friend, colleague, job, hobby, or just yourself. Whatever your reason for recovery, we're all in this together. On Busy Living Sober, our mission includes I want to change the stigma that's associated with addiction. That's why I partnered with SoberLink to expand and strengthen our community even further. SoberLink is a remote alcohol monitoring technology created to help provide accountability for people in recovery. The system includes a high-tech breathalyzer device with facial recognition that allows you to share your sobriety in real time with loved ones who can offer support in the event of a slip or relapse. SoberLink has helped hundreds of thousands of people document proof of sobriety in real time to help rebuild trust and foster peace of mind. SoberLink is currently building a strong community of people in recovery. Get inspired and inspire others today by joining the community at www.soberlink.com/BLS for Busy Living Sober. Thank you again, SoberLink, for sponsoring us. So, it's interesting. I've been up since 5 because I had to drive my son to the airport. He's going to meet his sister and they're driving up north. And we were talking about feelings, and we were at 5 o'clock in the morning having a very deep conversation. And we were talking about ignorance. And he said something like ignorance is bliss, but he's reading this book 1984, which I've not read, but he's like, Mom, you need to read this book. And I said, okay. And it says, on the back of this book, it says war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. And here I am, I'm less than a week away. Sunday will be, for 16 years of recovery. I've been, in recovery for 16 years, and white chip wonder, as they call it in Florida, and I haven't had to pick up yet. And you know, there's so much going on in the world, and I think I should definitely change the name of my podcast to Busy Living Life, because that's what I think this is all about, is busy living life. It's not about busy living sober. It's about busy living life. And it doesn't matter if you're an alcoholic or not. We're all in this together, right? Right. So sobriety, the ignorance, I'm going to talk about ignorance. So I said ignorance is bliss. This book says ignorance is strength. I can see why someone would say ignorance is strength, right? They'd say it's strength because then you aren't paying attention to anything that's going on. What's the definition of ignorance? Is that you ignore something? I'm going to actually give you the definition of ignorance. And it's so funny because in my life, lack of knowledge or information is ignorance. Lack of knowledge or information that's the definition of ignorance. How many times in your life have you been ignorant about something because you just don't want to look at it? It happens to me all the time. I can tell you that there's things that go on in my life that I want to ignore. So I'm ignorant of it. Now it goes on and on and on, and I ignore it. And I also have referred to it in my life as the big, large purple elephant in the room, right? We see this thing, it drives us crazy. We go, we recognize it. We say, you know what? This is driving me crazy. I'm bringing this to your attention. I don't think this is cool. You say it to your husband, at least I do. There's things that go on. I recognize, I say it to him. He says, yeah, yeah, yeah. And, you're like, okay, I don't want to be in a fight anymore. I just want to get along. So I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. But for some reason, I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but some reason, once I start to ignore it, if I ignore it and then I then pay attention to it again, because obviously it did not go away. So the ignorance that I've been in bliss because I have been pretending not to see the big, large purple elephant. I've been ignorant towards it. I'm like, I don't see it. It's there that I don't see it. I don't talk about it. I don't make it a part of my thing. It doesn't exist, right? Because I'm not paying attention to it. So it's like non-existent. But that's not true because it's still there. And for me, a lot of times I ignore it. And when I ignore it, I don't know if you can relate to this as well, but like it gets bigger inside of me. It gets bigger because now I'm getting more and more angry. and I'm getting more and more angry, and I acknowledge it. And I can say that, you know, being sober, I'm just sober today. Let's just face it. I'm sober today. I got up this morning, 5 a.m. I haven't had a drink today yet. It's 9:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on August 10th, 2022. And things drive me crazy in my life, right? Things drive me crazy. Kids drive me crazy. My kids have said to me now, Mom, we don't need to talk to you every day anymore. We don't need you to call us every day. We're totally adults now. Okay. But of course, one's already called me today to complain about another one. And I have to be ignorant. I cannot call the other one and say, by the way, your sibling is very upset with you because you said you were going to do A and you haven't done A, even though you said you were going to do A, but it's none of my business. Okay. So that makes it none of my business. So am I being ignorant about it, or am I just trying to keep the peace? What's the difference? We all try to keep the peace. But it's interesting in that I think that us having different opinions in the world, like it bothers me. It doesn't bother my daughter that she's not doing what she told her person that she was going to do. It doesn't bother her. That's fine. Is that okay? Yes, it's okay. It doesn't bother her. It bothers the other one. But it's like, why is it in this world? Is it ignorance? Is ignorance strength? I think we all have different beliefs. Okay. I think the core values of the United States of America, at least, is that we trust in something that's bigger than us. We have faith. We acknowledge that people are different. It's okay if you're different. But now I feel like there's so much fighting amongst everyone, and it's coming from the top. As I've said numerous times, it's like literally we're being run by an alcoholic family. And isn't it okay that we're different? Isn't it okay that I might believe something different than you? Can't we get along even though we're different? Or is that not okay? Do we all want to be the exact same? Do we all want to look the same? Do we all want to be the same? I understand that I go through, I have people in my family that it makes me sad that they're going through certain things, right? Now, what they're going through might be the way that God wants them to go through this life, right? They want her or him to go through this, or them to go through this. And this is part of their journey. And who am I to say not to have this part of their journey? Who am I to say that? Their mom? But do I really know? I don't really know. But at what point are we going to not be nice to each other? You might believe something different, and you might want to be something different than everybody else is in your family. But does that mean everybody in your family is supposed to conform to the way that you are and believe the things you are, or we can't get along? Like, I understand that. I understand why people at family parties and family get togethers, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and they say, you know what? We're going to leave politics and religion at the door, and let's just get along as a family. Why can't we have that respect all the time? Is it because we're ignorant? Is it because we're ignorant and we can't even go through because the ignorance is strength? It's strength. Or is it because are we going to be ignorant and ignore things? We can acknowledge that you think differently than I do, but that's okay. That is okay to acknowledge the fact I believe differently than you do. I met people on my yoga retreat, and actually one girl that I became very close to, and she believes differently than I do politically. She does. She's got a different view on life. It's interesting that she does, considering where she came from, but whatever. She doesn't believe the same way I do, but I think she's a great person. And it doesn't mean, it's kind of interesting though, because it's it's okay, because let's face it, we all kind of believe a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I don't know how much we're all totally in one camp and totally in another camp. Because I think that we fluctuate as human beings, right? Whatever's going on in our lives. We could see a little bit of that. Let's say we'll see a little bit of blue. We like a little bit of blue, and we like a little bit of the red. Now, we aren't sure what we like at this moment. So we're a little purple. Okay. So, but does that make us bad? Because we're not totally in the blue camp or we're totally in the red camp? What if we're in the purple camp? And what if we were all in the purple camp? And we all said, all right, I believe in this and I believe in that. And I believe in a little bit of this and I believe in a little bit of that. What would that be like? Would that be bad? Would that make us ignorant? Because they say that we're ignorant if we don't believe what they want us to believe. That means that, okay, I'm just supposed to believe somebody. It's so, I'm just supposed to believe somebody because they said to believe them. Last I checked, we're supposed to read and investigate on our own. The older I get, the less I know. And because my ignorance is so big, like I just signed up for when I went to yoga school, I didn't look into it. I didn't go and say, what is it all about? I didn't. Let's be honest. I did not do that. That's not my forte. I do not go and investigate, but shame on me. Then I can't really have an opinion on what was good or what was bad because I didn't really investigate. I did see what was on there, the basic things, and that interests me. So I jumped. And I think that we all need like to have an opinion on something. We really need to know about it more, right? We need to know about it more. We're supposed to have freedom in this country. We're supposed to have the freedom to make a decision. It's not that we can go break into people's homes and do whatever the hell we want to do because we don't like who they are. We can egg their cars. We can steal their stuff because they have and I don't. That's not cool. No, it's not cool. It's not cool to go rob stores that you do not own. Okay. It's not cool. It's not cool to walk into somebody's store with a gun, right? And shoot them. It's not cool. That's not cool. And being in this time that it's so dark where I feel like we all need to come together. Where's the light? The light, the light. We need to feed the light and not be ignorant and not be scared to stand up for who we are and say, this is what I believe. I understand you believe differently, but does that mean we can't be friends? When did that become the defining, the definition of a friendship was like, if you believe the same way I believe, then we're going to be friends. But if you believe differently, we can't be friends. That doesn't seem kosher to me, does it? I think we're supposed to be able to hear what other people say, and we might be able to take something from what they say if it makes a little bit of sense. We can say why we believe what we believe, and that person might agree and it might disagree. But does that mean that we can't be friends? Does that mean we can't be friends? When I was drinking, I had no abilities to differentiate between what was I liked and what I didn't like. It was all the outside stuff, right? If you look like you fit into my clique, then I'd let you in. But if you didn't look like you fit into my clique, then I wasn't going to let you in. It's so crazy. And now when I started going to AA, that's the first time I saw people that were actually different religions, completely different religions, completely different political views, and they were best friends. Like, I think we need to take a page from, the big book and bring people into this thing. And it's crazy because people always say that in the beginning there. I remember when I was first getting sober and I'd be like, you know what? Everybody should do AA because it really is about community. It doesn't matter about money. It doesn't matter about anything. All it matters is about we want to help everybody that has the same common problem, which is they drink too much, right? They've got a problem with alcohol. So you want to quit drinking. It's our problem. We're going to help you. Even if we don't need to know what your bottom looks like, by the way, either for us to let you in. Your bottom could be totally teeny. Your bottom could be something that I would be like, oh my gosh, that's not a bottom, but who am I to judge? Your bottom could be death, which I pray it isn't. I've watched too many people die of this disease. But when they invented this thing called AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, they said the only thing you need to come into a meeting is a desire to stop drinking. Then you get in there and they give you a cup of coffee and they give you a hug and they tell you we love you until you love yourself. And that is what I found when I went in those doors almost 16 years ago. That's what I found. And that's what I still find to this day is that unconditional love that we thought we were going to get from our families of origin, which we don't get. But when we go into an AA room, we're like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for my entire life. I have wanted this freedom. I've wanted this love of everybody, and it didn't matter. It's like you walk in those doors and it's like good. It's like God's there. It's the craziest thing. I wish I could define it. I used to say, God, if we could bottle it up and sell it on QVC, we'd be billionaires. What this feeling is of that true love, and it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't need to separate ourselves. because we think differently. We don't need to go to different places. We just need to come together as a nation that loves each other. And yes, I may be this and you may be that, but at the end of the day, we love our country more than we love anything else. I think that's what it comes down to, right? We love our country. We love our families. We love ourselves. We love ourselves, but we're so sick of being this whole thing of wanting to be what everybody else wants us to be. We do things that aren't our authentic selves. We act a certain way that aren't our authentic selves. We act ignorant towards ourselves, like who we really are. We don't take the time. We think because we were born into one house, we're supposed to be a certain way. All I'm asking you to do is love and respect each other. That's where the basic starts with. Tell me the truth about yourself. Life could be like a blackjack table, right? You walk up, you say, "This is what I am. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. Is it okay that we're friends?" And if you say, "You know what, I see what you're saying. You've got an ace and you've got and you've got a king, so you've got 21. Do you want to stay or do you want to go? Do you want to go against my thing or do you going to stay?" That's what life is. Being honest with each other and saying, "This is who I am," instead of walking around with this facade on the outside. We're all hurting. We are all sad. We are all scared. Okay. Anxiety. These kids I was around this entire time, they're all like, "I got anxiety. I've got anxiety. I've got anxiety." And anxiety is fear. Okay. When I was growing up, there was no word of anxiety. Okay. Maybe there was the word anxiety in the dictionary, but no one used it in my house to say, "Oh, I am anxiety." I don't even know what anybody would have said because nobody would have really cared. But I get that you can label you're scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Okay. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? The ignorance is not looking at what you're scared of. The ignorance is not saying, "You know what? I've got a problem with alcohol. It is in my life. It is beating the shit out of me. It's making me hate myself every single solitary day. And I've had enough of it, but I can't break up with it." The reality is you can break up with it. The feelings, the fear you have of how you're going to be without it, yeah, that's scary. If you've been drinking too much, you need to talk to your doctor before you quit. No matter what, you should call your doctor and say, "This is what I've been drinking. Do I need your help? Can you assist me to getting off alcohol? Because my relationship with alcohol is not good. I'm going to places that I don't like." But that's life. How many people want to go and talk to a doctor because they're eating too much or they're shopping too much, they're spending too much money, they're over their budget now, especially because look at gas. It costs me $70 to fill up my car. I do not have a very big gas tank, let me tell you. $70 to fill up my car today. Are you kidding me? It's crazy. 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 We need to love each other. How are we going to get through this? How are we going to get through this together? Maybe we're going to have to drive to work with each other. Maybe we're going to have to call that person we know that lives kind of in our close proximity to our house and say, "Hey, let's go together. Let's carpool and let's split the gas." So we're just paying for one gas and maybe you'll make a friendship there. What do you think about that? Making friends with somebody that you don't even know. You think on the outside you're total opposites. But what if that person actually has something that you could find interesting and that you could build a friendship on, right? I went into this room with strangers 16 years ago, had no idea who most of those people were. I was scared, so scared. I talk about it all the time. I was more scared to go there than I was to like have a baby or buy a house or buy a car. But I went into that room and I was so scared and I made friends with people that were totally different than me. My first sponsor, totally, completely different than me, but she had what I wanted. If this person that's down the street has what you want, which is that you want to drive to work with them because you think it's insane that you're both driving the same exact way each day and you're wasting this gas and it's insane. Why are we doing this? Maybe call them up. You never know what you're going to find. Maybe you'll find a new friend in that. We need friends. I can tell you, I moved to this neighborhood, almost 2 years ago. Nobody came over and said, "Hi, can I bring you, a souffle?" Like that's how it was back when we were growing up. Do you know that? When I was growing up, born 1968, just throw it out there again, people went over and said, "Welcome to the neighborhood. We're so happy you're here. Let's get together. Let's get to know each other." And it was a totally different, a different time. When did that stop? When the stupid computer came around, when Facebook came around, it meant, okay, now we don't have to talk to each other. Now I'm just going to look and see your updates. That's what I find so interesting, by the way. I see like dear friends, and I'm doing this in quotes because my dear friends would not call me about something. Siblings do not call me about things. They just send me messages on Facebook. Really? You can't pick up the phone, call me anymore? What's that about? What are we doing? Oh, kids, they're at restaurants with iPads. The last night when my kids were little and I had to take them to a restaurant, you know what? It was a pain in the ass. I can tell you that right now. There were no iPads to put in front of them. But what did I have to do? I had to teach them how to behave in a restaurant. I had to teach them how to communicate in a restaurant. What are you going to order? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, let's talk about, what are you in the mood for? Do you want spaghetti or do you want macaroni and cheese? Do you want a hot dog? Do you want a hamburger? What do you want to eat? But instead, we have them on these things with these, like I'm wearing headphones today. I never do this anymore, but I haven't worn these before. But now I'm going to try this out to see how the sound is this week. Let me know, by the way, if you think I sound better this week, because I've got this mic on. I've got a mic and a headset on. Because I'm not putting those earbuds in my ears anymore because I don't think they're really good for our eardrums, to be completely honest. So not to digress, but I'm not doing that anymore either. But anyway, so we need to talk to each other. We need to embrace each other. We need to not be ignorant to the fact that somebody's different. But until we get to know that person, really, they may be different and they may be different for a reason. You can see why. I found them, it's so fascinating. I was with, when I was at yoga school, one of my friends now is she was born in Georgia in the former Soviet Union, and she's from Russia. And to talk to her and to actually hear what she said. I mean, she was kind of mad at me because she wanted to focus on all of her work that she had to do. But I'm like asking her all these questions. I'm like, so what is it like there? What is it like being in your family? Like, tell me this, tell me that. What's the culture like? I found out that most people don't get divorced where she's from. It's interesting. Nobody gets divorced there. She said everybody just stays married. I guess you have to work through it, right? Instead of us, that's like, oh, disposable relationships, disposable, disposable, disposable. And family is very important there. And I loved that. It made me cry even to think that they have such love and compassion for each other. And I'm sure they all don't think the same exact way, but they stay together because they're a family. And that doesn't happen here. I wish it would. I wish we wouldn't be ignorant towards each other. I wish we could be able to hear each other, but it seems like it's not. It's slamming doors. It's taking ourselves way too seriously. I learned that in AA too, by the way. Rule 62. Don't take ourselves so seriously. Wear life like a loose garment. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know what we're all trying to prove here, right? I think that where I am from, being of Christian background, and my dad's Jewish, but we all believe in this thing, and it doesn't matter. I think Buddha, who else? Muslims. Everybody believes that after this earth, after this time we're here, it's beautiful, right? This time that we're here on this planet is very finite. It's going to end. We have an expiration date. We aren't going to live forever, right? Thank God. But this body starts to break down, our heads, our thinking, everything else starts to break down. And we're going to go to this place, I hope, called heaven one day. And when we get there, wouldn't you rather go knowing that you made a difference because you went out of your comfort zone and you were no longer went to this place of being like, I'm not going to get involved because they look too different. I'm going to actually get involved. I'm going to go out of my comfort zone. I'm going to say hi to somebody I normally wouldn't say hi to. I'm going to ask somebody for a ride that I normally wouldn't ask. Because when we say we got this, I got this, I don't need any help. That's when we close ourselves off from the sunlight of the spirit, because I don't think that any of us have got anything. I remember when I was younger and I would talk to somebody and I'd be like, well, do you know this? And do you know, they're like, the older I get, the less I know. And I truly believe that that is the lack of ignorance. I've got to acknowledge the fact that I don't know very much. I only know a finite thing. I want to learn more. I constantly want to learn more. I constantly I want to investigate more. Am I going to know everything by the time I die? There's no way. There's not enough time. There's too much. There's too much. And let's just say I don't even remember what I had for dinner last night. But I do want to open myself up to differences. I want to go and say, you might not agree with me, and that's okay. I still love you, even though you don't agree with me. And let's be friends, even though you don't agree with me, because you do have aspects that I agree with. I agree with the fact that we came from the same family, or I agree that we live in the same neighborhood. We obviously like something the same. We like where we live. We have that in common. Find the commonality. Don't find the difference. Don't be ignorant. Don't ignore things. If something's bothering you, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Don't ignore it. Don't pretend like it's going to go away, because it's not. And as uncomfortable as the conversation may be, which it is, I can tell you right now, I had an uncomfortable conversation this morning. When you have uncomfortable conversations, it's okay because you learn from them. But it's setting those boundaries, which is a whole nother topic, which I've talked about many times on my podcast. I want to say thank you to everyone that's listened to me for the past 5 years, or who's only been starting to listen to me last week, or is only listening to me for the first time this week. I want to say thank you. I don't know if I would still be sober today if I didn't have this podcast. I don't know. I don't know. I know if I help one person, that's all I care about. And one person. And I know there's people out there that listen that don't reach out to me, and there's people that do reach out to me, and I hear from you and then I don't hear from you. By the way, I'm always thinking about you, even if I haven't heard from you in a while, because I know you're out there. And if you're doing this and you're on this journey and it's hard, I get it. It's so hard. Getting sober is not easy. Getting okay with your feelings is not easy. It's so uh it's so It's so hard to not go and wish your past was different. It's so hard not to be scared of what's coming down the path. But if you get in right now, right this very second, and just take a deep breath, and I'm going to do this with you. It makes it all okay. Just taking that one breath, just taking that one breath, getting on that mat. If you do yoga at all, I learned this one thing. If you get on the mat, 70% of the benefits of yoga are just getting on that mat. You don't even have to do a damn thing. You just have to stand on that mat and you've got 70% of the benefits. Bring it, baby. Um, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for helping me get to this place where I am. Thank you for giving me courage. Thank you for allowing me to voice what I believe. I think that this year going forward, I'm going to get a little more political, and I'm going to get a little more honest about who I am this coming year. I've been doing 16 years. It's crazy. I think I'm going to write a book. I'm finally going to write a book. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. 16 years sobriety. I'm ready to do it. And it's going to be funny. It's not going to be too deep. But I wanted to let you know that this is hard. I know it sucks. Getting sober is hard. It sucks at times, but it's also worth it. And you're worth it. And alcohol is not worth it. Falling in love with you takes time. It takes energy. It takes persistence. It takes falling down. It takes picking yourself back up again. It takes tears. It takes anger. It takes resentments. It takes all these things, but get through them. And you don't have to do it by yourself. Go to a meeting. Go to an AA meeting. They're free. They're free. Go get a free cup of coffee. Go get a free hug. Um, Reach out to me at Bizzy, Bizzy, at buzzylivingsober.com, and that's BUSY, or Elizabeth, ELIZABETH, at elizabethchance.com. But you know what? Embrace each other. Maybe give a little wave to somebody. They might think you're crazy. My kids are like, Mom, you're crazy. You wave at people, you say hi to people you don't even know. But you know what? If I can help somebody smile today during this crazy time we live in, then I'm going to do it because I have no idea what's going to happen, and neither do you, and neither does anybody else. All I know is that people want things to happen, but if we stay our course of love, tolerance, and acceptance, everything will be okay, especially with us within ourselves. So I hope somebody got something from what I said today on episode 308. And thank you again. If you're out there on Sunday and just look up to the sky and just say, "Hey, Bizzy, congratulations," in the sky, that'd be awesome. I'll probably feel all the congratulations on Sunday, but it's just another day because guess what? I'm going to be back next week and it'll be 16 years plus whatever many days. It doesn't really matter. We all just have today. If you're sober today, congratulations and keep coming. You are not alone. You are not alone. Remember that. You are never alone. All right. Until next week, keep getting busy, living sober. Take care, everybody. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye.